So we're going to be planting cactus seeds today. Two different kinds of cactus seeds. Actually, several different kinds, but two different families of cactus species. Yeah, copiapoa is one, and Astrophytum, which is one of the better known families of cactus, is the other. And the Astrophytum is going to be a mix, so it's kind of like a surprise. It's like when you plant a mixed bag of flower seeds or something. You don't know what you're going to get. It's kind of like that, except more exciting because cactus are better. So basically what we're going to do is I have some soil mixed up already. We might need to mix some more. We might need to make some adjustments to it. Needs to be the right mix of gritty for the seeds to prosper and germinate. So we're going to put those in little plastic containers, put the seeds on it, make sure it's nice and moist. Then we're going to cover them with a kind of a dusting. You can't put too much stuff on top of cactus seeds because they don't have a lot of energy. They can't push through too much. It's not like bulbs where you put them down in the center of the earth and they're just like this unstoppable force, you know. Cactus seeds, you have to treat them with kid gloves and then they pay you back big time. I haven't nailed down the plant stream setup yet, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm moving some things around. Things are a little scattered. I think I got most of it figured out, so we should be all right. But anyway, also, I guess I should explain this. It's like a half of a joke, this cactus onesie sub goal. So if we get to 20 subs, really at any point, at whatever point I get to 20 subs, I'm going to purchase a cactus onesie, and this is what it's going to look like. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Actually, I do. I love it. But it's like $70. But it's something that I would treasure for the rest of my life. And it would certainly spice things up on stream. Let's get down to business, shall we? Alright. Astrophytum. This is what they look like. And since we have a mixed bag, it could really be any of these suckers. And they're all really cool looking. So that's why I'm really excited about planting those. Could just get God knows what. But really there's nothing in here I wouldn't love to have. And the other one is, I think, even cooler, which is hard to believe. But it is all the same cactus. And that's this guy. Look at this. Look at this monster. When it's young, in its early stages, that's gorgeous, you know? So that's what they look like. Very cool looking. We're gonna be putting our cactus seed mix in these guys. And I've put holes in the bottom for drainage. And I've mixed the soil ahead of time. I got it in this sucker right here. It's a mix of peat or, soil. And we also have some perlite in there to help with the drainage. Then you gotta have some sand. Grittiness is important for the seedlings to germinate properly. It's kind of a fine line that you're trying to walk here. You know, you don't want them to drown, but you need that grittiness that the soil provides. Let me show you the seeds first. These are the Cinerea. We got 10 of these guys. And then we got a bunch of Astrophytum. These guys here, 26 of those. I don't think we're gonna be planting all that. But, man, this music makes me want to snap my fingers. We'll be planting, most of it. Alright, so I'm probably just gonna use my hands. Yeah. No need to involve a trowel here. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, the soil mix that I have has a bunch of it's like someone put a tree and a wood chipper and mixed it into this soil mix. So I'm gonna try and remove some of the larger pieces that I see. You don't want big chunks of wood in your seed mix. You want to provide kind of a homogenized mix for the seeds to grow, because they have such little potential energy in them, especially cactus seeds. You know, some other types of seeds like bulbs and even flower seeds will push through, you know, clay and dirt and stone, and just they're like an unstoppable force coming out of the ground. But cactus seeds really need to be treated like little babies, like they are. So you just don't want to overwhelm them. You want to give them a nice, even mix to work their early roots into. And then when we end up covering them, we really just want to put the lightest dusting on top of them. Cactus are little babies. It's funny because they are when they're seedlings, and then when they grow up, you know, they're such badasses. They can take drought. But something that never changes about cactus is that their root structures are always very delicate. They become, you know, they're hardy. But if their roots are disturbed, they can be easily set back, which is, you know, they'll stop growing and in some cases die. So you have to take care of their root systems. And I think this is high enough. So what we're going to end up doing here is we're really just going to evenly place the seeds along the top. And then, well, first we're going to moisten the soil. Dude, there's that analogy and so many other cactus analogies, and I'm like, is this why I like cactus? And I just never realized it. But I don't think it goes that deep for me anyway. But yeah, I do agree. They're very relatable. So we're gonna moisten the soil evenly. I'm actually gonna put a layer of just soil on the top here with no perlite or anything. All right, it's looking good. And once we moisten it, get it nice and moist, then we're gonna spread out the seedlings evenly along the top. Then we're gonna put a thin layer of vermiculite on top of them, just to give them a way to hold the moisture in to help germinate the seeds, but not so much that they can't sprout out from under it. And then we're gonna cover them in a plastic bag, and it feels like we're suffocating them, but that's what you have to do. It's like, why are you making it so the baby can't breathe? Well, that's what the baby needs. Okay, I'm gonna water them. This is a weird watering can. Requires pumping. But it has this cool nozzle on it, and if I get the setting right, it does like a spray action. So, let's see. Yeah, there we go. Where's my fucking coffee? Yeah, where I live right now, it's heckin' cold too, man. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's like 50 today, so. But I'm going to be keeping them indoors under lights. I don't know if you can see my setup behind me. I have like shelving that I have lights attached to, and then I keep my cactus underneath them. In the summertime, I keep them outside because it's reliably nice. But yeah, I've been collecting cactus for a while, and I've never lived in a place where you could just keep them outside year round. Like, I'm always really jealous of people who have that luxury. Alright, so I'm gonna pour these guys out into here so I can pick them up individually, which is kind of the hardest part of this, because you want to give them even space. And I like to pick them up by just mushing them, then grabbing them, and then putting them down. Boop. Alright, there's one. Obviously, you don't want to mash them or hurt the structure of the seed, but you know, seeds are kind of built to keep their structure intact, so you don't need to pick them up with tweezers or anything. Back to business. So, we have, as best as we can, evenly spread our seeds here. Did a pretty good job giving them equal amount of room. Now, what we're going to do is layer a fine dusting vermiculite along the top, just enough to give them a cozy little housing so they can keep the moisture in. And you know what I better do before I forget and get too far along the process is label this plastic container. Alright, we're safe. And actually, when I picked that up, I saw that some of the moisture wasn't quite evenly distributed on this corner. I don't want to disturb the seeds too much, so I'm just going to spray kind of into the corners here and let water kind of diffuse throughout the soil. The main thing that I don't want to do right now is to accidentally disturb the soil and end up with one of the seeds buried underneath too much, so it won't get the chance to push out through the top. So we're being very careful not to disturb the soil too much or move the seedlings around. Seedlings. Ha! There'll be seedlings at some point, but not yet. Alright, so now we got the soil decently moist. I'm using vermiculite, but you could use just a fine coating of soil for this. This is the vermiculite. I'm just going to evenly, lightly and evenly dust it on top. You don't want to put too much in one spot. And bury our little, you don't want to bury our children here. I think we got pretty much the perfect amount here. Yep, I think that looks good. Now the final step, actually, what I'm going to do from now on with the plastic bags, I'm going to label them. Whoop. Not the best writing surface and not the best handwriting, but hey, got this guy labeled. Now, scoot this sucker out of the way. And this is the moment of truth, really. I mean, if this doesn't fit, I'll be able to figure something else out. But, okay, this is gonna be perfect. Thank goodness. And now this is one of the most important parts of the whole process, because really keeping the moisture inside is important. It's not easy. The process is easy. Like, the idea, the concepts behind it is easy. But how is it a failure photo? Or also, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. At what point did it fail? Did it ever germinate? Did you ever see any sprout? All right, so there we have it. That's our first batch, and I'm getting little butterflies in my stomach looking at it, because it looks right to me, you know. It looks proper. No growth at all, never germinated. Did you plant one seed? Because it's easy, you don't want to be too easily discouraged. That's why it's a good idea when you're planting seeds to get a bunch and try and germinate them all at once, because some seeds are just duds. It's just how nature works, you know. Some just aren't gonna work. Sometimes the structure, maybe they get crushed, however they ended up getting to you along the way, you know. Yeah, well, some of those are good, some of those aren't. Well, the kit had a fatal flaw in that they only gave you 2 seeds. Whoever designed this kit should have provided you with more seeds. Also, cactus seeds, sometimes they last for a long time, but just like any seed, they can get to a point where they are too old. And also sometimes they can be too young. It's hard to know, you know. Getting your seeds from someone who really knows what they're doing is really important. And then also giving yourself more opportunity to be successful by planting more seeds is a big part of it. So these guys are looking good. They look happy in their house. I can see them smiling. I'm going to place them in the spot that I prepared on the rack. Get them out of the way. Optimal growing conditions for cactus are not an easy thing to come by. I don't have optimal growing conditions either. Oh shit. You can grow cactus entirely indoors. I prefer to move mine out during the summer months and the spring months, because it's usually warm enough here. I'm in Virginia. You can keep them outside for a good chunk of fall too, but as it starts to get closer to winter, you really can't keep them outside. So that's why I have lights, and I used to live up further north, so I've had lights since then, and they still come in handy even though I've moved closer to the warmer parts of the country. All right, so let me show you what we're planting, because that's always exciting. I mean, to have an image in your mind of what these little guys are going to turn into. The ones we're going to be planting now, these are called Astrophytum, and we have a mix of these guys. So I'm going to label this guy Astrophytum. Don't want to get them mixed up. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Yeah, I mean, when it comes right down to it, what do I love about cactus is that they're pretty much always cool looking. Let me grab, I have some pumice I'm gonna put in the bottom of the pot. And this is just to help with the drainage. Don't need a bunch of it. You just don't want the water to collect down at the bottom. This is a little Astrophytum that I have. It's just a little guy. He doesn't want to be in focus, but there he is. Just such a cool way that they grow. All right. This is a dusty endeavor, which is kind of unfortunate for computer equipment. I really have to find a better way to separate, like put more distance between the tech stuff and the plant stuff, but I haven't really worked that one out yet. But yeah, I would recommend if you tried once and you're still interested, all you really have to do is probably do what you did the first time if you followed, you know, even basic instructions. Just use more seeds. Also, an important part of it is making sure that it's not disturbed and making sure that the moisture is kept inside of whatever environment you're trying to germinate the seeds in. Which is why we put the plastic bag around it. And I'm picking out most of the big chunks of wood that are unfortunately in this soil, because that's not going to help. I have a little wood pile collecting in the corner here that I can use for something else. How do they form seeds? That's interesting. So actually that it has to do with cacti flowering. And yeah, Photo, you're spot on. As I was starting to explain, I was like, oh, there you go. I actually have a seed pod. I'm gonna grab it to show you. It came out of a cactus that flowered over the summer, and I collected its seed pods. Let me grab them. Is the camera there? Yeah. So these are the seed pods, and they're kind of ugly, but this is because they've, you know, shriveled up. I've been holding on to them for a while. And inside of here are the seeds. And I forget. These pods came from, I think I know what kind of cactus, but I'm not sure. I think it's called mellow cactus. I mean, I know that's what it's called. I'm just not sure if that's the cactus it came from. So that'll be a surprise when we get around to planting it. And I love surprises. So this isn't the exact cactus that I think those came from, but this is another of the same plant. It's called mellow cactus. I love the name. So basically, the plant flowers, and cactus tend to flower from the center. And they have these beautiful flowers. And then as the flower reaches the end of its life cycle, as it peters out, this like ugly, like alien looking hairy thing like this grows out of the center of it. But that's how it creates its little seed pods, and that falls off. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it falls off and opens up, and the seeds spread out, and hopefully they grow. And I want to pick out some of these big chunks because we want a homogenized kind of medium for our seedlings, our seeds. And importantly, we must moisten the soil with our pump action watering can. We also want to make sure the water gets down there. Just want to make sure that the water's getting down there so these guys will have moisture to work with for a while, because we don't want to open up the bag that we're going to put them in for, you know, that would kind of ruin the whole germinating process. The first shot at germinating is really all you got. Alright, we're going to switch to stream mode. Streaming, just so we can get some penetration into the lower reaches, because we've evenly watered the top. But really the reason we're using the mist is because we want the little top layer to be as even as possible. We don't want like lots of bumps and peaks and valleys. We're gonna have some anyway, but I'm trying to keep them as tamed as possible. Now, if you were gonna try this at home, I would heartily recommend that you get a soil mix that has less garbage in it than this, meaning less sticks and stones, because they really, I'm having to put another layer on top here to try and deal with that. But yeah, I don't know where I got this. This must have been the bargain bin at Lowe's Home Goods. And I was like, well, how bad can soil be? It's soil. Well, I found out. Someone put a tree through a wood chipper and sold it as soil. No fertilizer. You don't want to put fertilizer in a seed mix. You'll burn them, as it's known. I should have done this the other way around, but whatever, no big deal. Want it to be moist like the first time, every time. I don't know what that means. They don't need artificial light. I am keeping mine under artificial light because my apartment has really poor lighting. Like, every room in my apartment has at least one window, but none of them are facing the sun. And I have a nice little back porch area that I kept them out during all the nice summer, spring, and pretty late into the fall months. But yeah, once I had to bring them inside because of the cold, I mean, I've had these lights for years, but, well, most of them. But, yeah. You could keep them alive in a window if you had good light, for sure. And sometimes, I mean, you could keep them alive in a window with terrible light. So if you want them, you know, like, the sign of a super well-grown cactus is, like, when they, like, are kind of like tight. They don't look like stretched out. And that's because they haven't had to physically reach out to find the light, because that's what they're doing when they do that. Now, my question is, how many of these guys should I plant in this? Probably like 9, 10, yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna pour them out into this guy. The artificial light can be tricky. It's like, it'll do in a pinch, but if it's not strong enough, I mean, it'll keep it alive, but it'll like just keep it alive. And sometimes I've actually had situations where something that's reaching looks cooler. So you never know. You never know what you're gonna get. But yeah, I have these like, I think these lights are meant for growing cannabis, so they're really strong. It was actually really obnoxious when I ordered them and they showed up. They came with like all of all of these stickers and shit with like 420 on them and stuff. Alright, so I think we can fit another couple seeds in between here and here. Really don't want to get these guys crowded though, because that'll just ruin their chances of, you know, if they're growing into each other. You don't want them to have a crowded house. So what we're gonna do is sprinkle a very thin layer, more like just a dusting of vermiculite on the top, and that's going to help them keep the moisture. It's gonna help keep the moisture on the seeds. Oh shit. Yeah, you don't want to. I kind of just let too much fall out at once there. Really trying to avoid doing anything resembling burying these seeds. The reason for that is that these guys have very low stored potential energy, much less than other plants. Cactus do not have the ability to push out seeds, do not have the ability to push out from underneath very much at all. Alright, so I'm gonna label our plastic bag, just in case the label I put on the plastic container somehow disappears. Alright, now this bad daddy's ready for its maiden voyage to the land of light. Okay, uno más. Pumice. Man, pumice is cool. Okay, soil mix. I like to use pumice because it looks cool. And then there's this stuff called akadama. Allow me to show you akadama. That's what it looks like. It's kind of pretty too. And it has lots of, well, not lots, but it has nutrients that tend to help root growth. So that's why it's favored for bonsai. So they often have very finicky root systems that are relying on, you know, wires and gentle, loving care. This particular mix we got going on doesn't feel gritty enough. I'm gonna mix in a couple handfuls of sand. Alright. One more handful of the peat. We're gonna be good. Alright, just get the big chunks off the top, get it moist. We're good to plant our last batch of seeds. It's looking a little craggy, a little rocky, but it's gonna do. It's gonna do just fine. I actually have a heat mat that I could put under these guys, but the light that I'm using is more than strong enough. It should warm the soil pretty evenly, so I don't think that's really going to be necessary. But in some cases, if you're germinating seeds, a little heat mat can be invaluable. All right, that's everyone. Cactus are just like us. All right, we have done it. We have planted our seeds. Oh, I do not like that vermiculite dust. No. Thank you. All right. Last one down. I'm excited to see what these turn out to be. It's cool. This is good. I wish I had more seeds. Well, I do have more seeds to plant. I don't know what they are, but I guess I'll do another plant stream.